business today. Now, Kenya Power has set aside 258 million shillings in the current financial year for the installation of charging stations across the country and the purchase of electric bikes and vehicles. This even as the adoption of electric vehicles continues to make headway, with the company piloting its second charging station worth 6.5 million Kenya shillings. The utility has purchased 2 electric double cabin pickups for the pilot, which plans to install 9 more stations by July 2024 to serve towns and highways. Here's a little bit of how the charging system works.
This vehicle works, doesn't use fuel to start with. It is an electric vehicle 100%, and it has been configured to look just like the normal vehicle. So you'll get into your vehicle and you have a fuel card. Just like for this, we'll use a card, which is like a fuel card. The one if you have prescribed for one with the fuel stations, you get a card, which you'll use to do your charging. When you get to a charging station like the one we have right here, you will find that you have multiple charging options depending on the standard your vehicle is using. Currently in Kenya, we have gotten CCS2, that's the combined charging cycle for AC charging, for DC charging, and we have type 2 for AC charging. There are other charging standards. In China, they use a GPT. In Japan, they use CHAdeMO and type 1. In Europe and in the US, mostly Tesla has their own charging standard. Kenya, from last year, adopted a CCS2. That's a combined charging system for the Kenyan market. So that is the first charger we have here. It also has the Japanese standard, CHAdeMO, because there are some vehicles built earlier which are already in the market and are likely to use this charger. The Chinese standard, most of the vehicles coming from China right now are new, so they are complying with the Kenyan standard, which is CCS2. So we have no challenge with that. So this car's capacity is 64 kilowatt hours. 64 kilowatt hour under normal driving, you will do 300 to 320 kilometers. If you reduce your speed constantly to 60 and below, you will do up to 400 kilometers, 350 to 400 kilometers. It is able to, it also self-charges when you are going down and descent. So it has a lot of, it is able to recover some of the energy you have dispensed when you start going downhill. When you get to a charging station, the charger itself will tell you exactly what you have used at the end of the session. So you can also use timing or just wait for it to get fueled. The car itself also has a meter. It will tell you how much energy is in the batteries and how many kilometers you wish to move. So if you are traveling, you just need to stop for enough time to allow you to get enough charge to your destination. Yeah. Also, the timing is also, the chargers have different charging rates. There are some chargers at your home. If you are to charge this car, it will take almost 20 hours. If you use a normal home charger, which is about 3.5 kilowatts. Some other commercial chargers are 7 kilowatts. For this car, it will take almost close to 10 hours. The charger we have here, which is 22, will take about 3.5 hours. The bigger charger, which is DC, will take 1.5 hours from 0 to 100. So, and mostly these cars, you'll charge them when they are not past 20. So you will take a very short time, 40 minutes, 30 minutes. So if you are stopping at a mall, with this charger, you should be able to comfortably charge your car. So the charging system starts with, of course, opening your, what would be normally a fuel tank. Now it's a charging port. And the same way you open the other cars, in most cars you'll find the tank, either it's opened from a lever here or right under your driver's seat, and in this case one is under the driver's seat. When you press that, you will find that your charging port, which would otherwise be a fuel tank, opened. Then you will of course open, depending on the charger you want. The first is an AC charger, the second one is a DC charger. The AC charger, this under the charger we have here AC, this will take you 6 hours to get the car, no, 3.5 hours to get the car fully charged. The DC charger will take you 1.5 hours to get the car fully charged when it is totally at zero. to 100. So at the charger itself is controlled by a card, as I mentioned. So you'll just get, there is an RFID. It is able to read the card, and when you tap, it will give you, it will authorize you to use the charging station. Then you choose which of the 3 guns we have. We have CCS2, that's the standard we have for Kenya. That's the combined charging system. We have Chademo, this is a Japanese, which we have put specifically because of the older vehicles which found their way into the market before the standard was put up, or anybody bringing in a second vehicle from the Japanese market. Then we have the AC charger, which is also a type 2. There are 2 types of this. There is type 2 and type 1. Type 2 is the one which has been combined with the DC to make the combined charging system. So with this, if you choose, depending on what you choose, if you choose the AC, once you are there, you choose that, it will allow you to connect to the car. So plug it in and go back to the machine and press start. And once you do that, the car initializes and it starts charging. You can see it is giving you. If you wish to stop that, it's the same process using the RFID card. You will go to the same charger and you will be able to stop the session. And it will give you a summary of what you have actually used. You have charged for 24 seconds, 29 seconds, and you have used 0.03 kilowatts of energy. So you can be able to come back. If you need the fast charging, that would have taken you about 6 hours from zero. You will pick the charging protocol we have here is CCS2. So we won't use Chademo, we use CCS2. When we do that, it will release the charger. This is a very high capacity charger. So without that, you will not even be able to remove the gun from the port. So with having been given, then the gun is accessible and you can be able to get it to the car. Through the same protocol, you go and charge and you'll be able to discover that energy here will move faster. There's a communication protocol with the car. That's why it will take a bit longer because it will have to read the battery before it decides what rate of charging to be able to charge. It's quite a high capacity charger, so it must be able to read what is in the car before it initiates the charging. So it will take a bit longer to initiate. So it's now reading the car and it will give you the conditions, show you identification to stop. You can see right now it is that 8 seconds. It says the battery, it has even read 97%. The previous could not tell you. And it's telling you how much power it is using, 26 kilowatts. Because the battery is near full. As you get towards 100, it reduces the charging. But as it is, it will tell you exactly the rate at which it is charging. Right now, per hour, it's giving you about 22 kilowatts. And it is quite smart. It will be able to regulate the charge rate. Basically, that's how we charge. And at the end of it, we expect that when we commercialize, the charger to charge you or to make it possible for you to pay for what you have used. With this, you learn the European and the American way of fueling. Nobody attends to you at the fuel station. You just go, take your fuel and pay somehow. You don't need an attendant like Kenya to guide you over. So this will be exactly the same. We'll be able to come to the station, charge, pay and go. This car will do 300 to 320 kilometers, normal running. As I mentioned, if you do economic running, 60 kilometers and below, you should be able to do 350 to 400 kilometers. First and foremost, if you run out of charge as you drive, it's just like the people run out of fuel as you have to carry a jerrycan, and in most cases, unfortunately, this you can't carry in a jerrycan. You'll have to tow the vehicle. But that would be very responsible of the driver because the car will tell you exactly how many kilometers are remaining, how much energy is there. So it is up to the driver to be able to follow the instruction. Otherwise, the car doesn't have infinite charge. And when you start, it's 300, and it will keep giving you the mileage remaining. And by the time you get to about 15% charge, it will go into a limp mode to allow you to get, it will go to an energy conservation mode, which will allow you get to the nearest charging station. At the moment, Kenya Power is planning to cover the main trunk roads, starting with the Nairobi-Mombasa highway. At least now that we're in Nairobi, we expect to be at Mutito a day and Mombasa itself. So a car like this would require a top-up, 30 minutes to 1 hour at Mutito a day, and we'll be in Mombasa. Then we are also looking at the Kisumu route. Currently, the Kisumu route is covered, though it is covered with slow chargers. We have a charger in Kisumu. That's not Kenya Power, by other players. We have 2 chargers in Naivasha. We have a charger in Nakuru. So that route, currently, you can actually drive to Kisumu and back. What Kenya Power will do is to reduce the amount of time you use at a charger on that route, because we'll be installing fairly faster chargers. Now, Eldoret route, we don't have a charge in Eldoret. That's a point where we want to make it possible to drive to Eldoret. And eventually, in the next phase, we should allow someone to drive all the way to Kitale, Bungoma, Busia, back to Siaya and back to Kisumu. So we expect that route through Kakamega also to be covered in phase 2 and phase 3. We're also looking at the Mount Kenya route. That is Thika, Murang'a, Nyeri, and the other side there is Embu. Then we have Nanyuki. Eventually will be in Meru. And we expect in phase 3 to get to Maua, the farthest point we expect to get to Meru. We're also looking at the Narok route. We have tourists there to Kisii. That is through Narok and the Kisii itself and Naivasha. We are also looking at the Garissa route, at least to Mwingi and to Garissa.
Right now, farmers are poised to reap enhanced proceeds